with 0.6 of a second remaining. The brilliant shooting of Stephen Curry continues. Back to Green, into the hands of Sproul. Fast break down to Weber. He turns. Look up behind the back. And the step and the foul. What a play by Weber.
I've never seen a shooting display like this. Never.
37 in a quarter. Curry splits the defense behind the back. Fires a three. Oh, he puts it in. What a spectacular move. That could be the greatest move I've ever seen. Here's Curry for the record. It's good. There it is. Stephen Curry. The all-time three-point king in the NBA.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
You are in Morris Huddle with me, Brammy, with me, per usual, my master of all things video and sound, Maxime.
How's it going?
And my boy and producer, MT.
What's up, Dub Nation?
Gentlemen, fired up to announce that rejoined us from beyond the grave, a dedicated Warriors fan whose roots go deeper than Run TMC. A current big deal at Disney, where he does important things that I don't really understand, but I'm genuinely impressed by. The multi-year stats guru on this show, who we announced is dead a few months back, and a man who just visited Intuit Dome's bathrooms and left unimpressed, Mr. Matty Stats. What's going on, Matty?
Well, thank you for having me. It is such a pleasure to be here. Huge fan, being a transplant down in LA. You guys bring that Bay Area fandom, even when I can't find a bunch of Warriors fans to get all hyped with. So appreciate the work you're doing.
I love all compliments. Keep those coming as we go forward here. And let's make it a mutual admiration society. Boys, can we give this dude props for his fucking background? Mr. Professional over there. So I don't remember. I mean, a few weeks back, whenever it was, months, episodes, however long, we joked that Matty has not necessarily been keeping stats, and that was because maybe he died. And if memory serves, the joke we made is we said he was listening to a clock radio in the bathtub, and check out his background. This fool is nailing it, dude. In fact,
Well done.
Did you create that? It looks like you created the background.
Yes, I'll take credit for that. I created it by Google search and imagination. But yes, I had to rise out of this bathtub to come on the podcast today after trying to find it for years. I don't know how it fell off my list, but I was on the radio, turning the dial, died for like 10 minutes, came back, found out there were cell phones and podcasts, started listening again, and that's why the stats fell off for a little while. But I'm back alive and ready to go. New platforms, computers exist, all that shit. So great.
And apparently woke up a Photoshop expert.
There's no doubt there. And I now know what you do for Disney. You combine imagination and Google search. Boom! There it is. Where the hell was this information pre-intro, dude? It would have been far more complete. I am burying the lead. The thing that was not a joke during the intro is Matty has, in fact, been inside Intuit Domes. Here's a text he shared with us before we went live. Quote, spoiler, hate getting into the Intuit Dome, and he threw an exclamation point behind it. What the hell happened, dude? Like somebody punch you in the face while you're waiting to get in there? What's going on?
I mean, Warriors don't come down to LA all that often, a few times this season. So I'm excited when they get down here and I get my chance to go watch a game. Me and my wife were heading to the game. We got out a little bit later than we had anticipated. I'm not putting any blame on anybody. And we got in, and it took about 2 hours to get across Los Angeles, get into the parking lot. And then you're there with your ticket and you're ready. And then the line's like, no, you can't use the ticket in this line. You're like, what do you mean I can't use the ticket? We don't scan tickets. If you want to get in, you got to go to that other line way over there to scan the ticket. This is the line for identity pass next to the line for face scan. And I'm like, none of this makes any sense. So we're frantically in line, like scanning our faces, trying to link the specific Intuit app to Ticketmaster, back to Google Wallet. And then luckily by the time we got there, we showed them our Google wallets on our phone and they're like, you walk in. I don't know if it linked up to my ticket. I don't know if I actually used that ticket I paid for to get into the arena. But the stress I felt already knowing I was going to be a couple minutes late trying to figure out if I had to reline because I didn't have the right technology on my phone was very painful. Luckily, I kept my composure, and I'm still happily married.
Hear that, Steve Ballmer? Go fuck yourself. We don't like your giant palace. I learned a few things there. One of the collateral pieces of information I learned is that your wife does not listen to this show. There is no way you're throwing out there not blaming anybody after throwing it. So 100%, we are apparently in the clear there. And Maxime, as our master of all things sound, does Matty's sound more like a clock radio or that he's in the bathroom? Because it feels like it's one of those two options, and like I'm not sure which one.
I think it's just a testament to the combination of Google searching and creativity that we're both able to have a visual and audio representation of where he is.
I think he used that combination to build a microphone, and it came out okay. Like I can in fact hear him, so it worked out. It worked out fine. Matty, we're gonna send you a can attached to some string. If you wouldn't mind just using that for the rest of this, that would be that'd be excellent. Gentlemen, it's an award show day. It is Friday. We've got a week of Warriors basketball behind us, which means it is time to hand out some unnamed awards. Since this is an unnamed award show still, I'm going with the weekly Warriors Awards still, the WWAs, but that's only because it's a placeholder. Matt, use Google imagination. Get back to us on where we should go here. And let's start with our Jesus Shuttlesworth Award. That's the player of the week. Matty, if you've got one, why don't you start us off, man?
I'll start it off with Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins has been playing that great basketball, even in that emotionally challenging Clippers game. He played as strong as the starters, and I think that's the main thing is looking at the way that he is competing alongside the Stephs and the Drays. And you saw that in the Hawks game, in the plus minus he's bringing, the shooting, the aggression, and even when he's not bringing it on an offensive night, because not everyone shoots every night, he's bringing it on defense. And it's been fun to see. Who knows how long his emotional and mental stamina can hold up throughout the whole season. But I am hopeful, and he does feel like he has a bounce in his step that we haven't seen in a couple of years.
I'll throw in, and this is a kind of a Where's Waldo. We've got another one down the line. But one of the things that stuck out to me about Wiggins this week, what I spotted, the random thing out there, is the return of Wiggins' confidence. Wiggins had 17 shots against Atlanta. I haven't looked at his box scores enough to tell you when the last time he had that many offerings, but I think it's been a while, and he was feeling himself. And that's exactly what we want. When Way Wiggs was fueling a championship run, when he was the second best player in a final series, it was his defense and his rebound that led to his confidence in the shooting. And I think we're kind of seeing that now. So a slight return, which I love. I've got one, but MT, why don't you give us another one? Jesus Shuttlesworth, who's player of the week?
I think Wiggins is the right answer, but I'm going to go TJD. Agree that it was an emotionally roller coaster of a game with the Clippers, but I just loved that he was going back and forth with Zubac back then. We were missing Loon, and you kind of question whether or not TJD can have that same impact. And Zubac always gives us trouble, so it wasn't like he neutralized him. But I just loved that he went at him. He had a few key plays, where he had a big block on the defensive end and then ran back down and had a dunk. So I was just encouraged by that because I think it speaks a lot for a player that's still super young and trying to find his role on a team. And I'm going to give it to TJD as an honorable mention behind Wiggs.
If you had been watching your screen, you would have called him two-way TJD because Maxime is ahead of the game here, dropping little video accompaniments, which I love. If you are not on our YouTube channel, you are fucking up. Come join us. Watch these things. We go live, and Maxime is just dominating it. While I'm complimenting you, Maxime, did you get the quote from Draymond that I sent a little bit earlier? You got that one? Excellent. All right, so here's my award, and I'm pivoting a little bit. So Jesus Shuttlesworth, I'll call Dre the Jesus Shuttlesworth Award winner, but I'm going to pivot and also call it the Yoda Award for good advice, because Draymond was asked about Brandon Pajemski's struggles from three-point land, and he offered this quote, which I thought was just dynamite.
Season, he got hit in the face again tonight, had to leave, I guess. What are you seeing with him and what he's kind of trying to work through right now?
what he's trying to work through is y'all fault. And I told y'all that at the beginning.
It's a great
of
quote
the
right
year.
here. You love to hear it.
It's hard, and I don't say this from experience of myself. I say this from experience of watching people. It's hard having a great rookie season and then coming back and
Let's try that again.
second.
We got it. I can hear it.
Kind of a tough early season.
Oh, you
got
good?
hit in the face
Yeah.
again tonight.
Shit, I couldn't hear it.
I guess.
You're all good.
What are you seeing
My bad.
with him and what he's kind of trying
Jump
to
ahead
work
again.
through?
It's hard having a great rookie season and then coming back and having the second year as good or better. It's tough. That's why you've always heard of a sophomore slump. It's a very tough thing to do. And I think for him, he's just put so much pressure on himself for the player that he wants to be and that he thinks he should be, and it's unnecessary. Because what he's special at is doing all of the other things on the floor. And when you put the pressure on yourself, like, I got to make this shot, but there are some guys that have that pressure, and they have to because that's what they do. If you don't have to have that pressure, and I say that from experience, don't put that pressure on yourself because it's hard night in and night out to live based on whether you make shots or not. It's a tough thing to do. Only the greatest can do it. And I think he's capable of becoming a really, really, really good player in this league. But why put the added pressure on yourself? Why beat yourself up? We believe in him. The amount of pressure that he puts on himself with each shot is insane. And so I'm saying this also, so I hope you hear it. Me and Steph talk to him every day. Like, who cares? Miss 7 of them. No one cares but you. Like, you're the only person thinking about the shots you miss. No one else is thinking about it. But he kind of puts this pressure on himself of what he needs to be, and every shot means so much, man. It's a soft Wednesday in November. That shot don't mean that much.
Perfect. Cut it. Here's what I love about that. Draymond understands what the hell Pods is going through, recognizes him as a young player, and isn't just telling him behind the scenes. We heard him say, he's meeting with him all the time, that he would go to the podium and make it clear, not just to Podziemski, because that's not the only person he's talking to, and not just to the press that they need to back off and they're putting him in the wrong place. He's talking to the fans. He's telling us, look, relax. Everyone who's hell of upset about his three-point shooting, all these other things, he's reminding us of Pod's real value. That makes him one hell of an asset. There's the Jesus Shuttlesworth of thing. And then the advice, dude. I am the kind of player who's deep in my head. If I think that a shot's really important or I've missed the first couple, I can get caught up in the failure of it if it's not going well. And so that he would address it and tell him, that's fine. You're still contributing really speaks to me. Matty, are you the kind of person who could take advice? So, like, I gave him all that credit, and I meant it. But if I was Podziemski and someone came and talked to me and they told me, like, look, don't worry about this, I don't know if I'd be able to take it. I'd still be locked in my head and still be a fucking crazy person because of how I handle stuff. Are you capable of hearing when people actually advise you?
I have had quite a bit of feedback in my life, and I would say I can take that information, process it, how to work with it. I think it takes an irrational level of confidence to take that and really let it in. And no, that doesn't mean I'm not a bad player. And then you get that example of it. I mean, looking over at Wiggins right now, further into that press conference, Draymond brings up, if he just does the things that he is best at, the shots will fall. And you're seeing it with Wiggins. So he's looking over at a person who was pressing for years and seeing how well rebounding, playing defense is leading to his shot. And so hopefully he will be able to hear that, and hearing it from a future Hall of Famer doesn't hurt, especially one who is currently taking a lot of feedback from Kerr, who pulled him aside after some games to give him that one-on-one video session about his turnovers. So if you're watching your leaders do that, if you can't do that, you got to get out of the locker room.
I'm the kind of person, you're giving me advice, I'm listening to it, I'm nodding, it makes sense to me. And then the second the problem that you're advising me on crops back up, I forget it, like entirely. If I was Pajemski, like I'd hear all that, like, yep, this is great advice, absolutely, thank you so much. And then the second I missed a shot, I'd be like, no, like, oh, I'm not contributing. And all of it would go immediately out the window. Maxime, clean us out, dude. Who's your Shuttlesworth Award winner?
I mean, I want to keep on talking about Draymond, and we actually had somebody in the comments here saying to give a shout out to Draymond's 3-point shot, right? And so maybe we should be talking about two-way Draymond as well, but specifically what I'm excited about is what Draymond is bringing on the defensive end. I don't know if you guys saw Marcus Thompson II had a piece, really good. Shout out, friend of the pod, MT2, about Draymond has started lifting weights. So a little dramatic reading for you because as we all know, this dude has bars from a writing perspective, right? And he quotes Draymond. He says, "One thing I learned over the last 4 years or so," Green said, "you have to lift weights. Your body needs it. Your body needs to get stronger as the season goes on to be able to withstand the pounding." And then MT2 goes on to say, right, it's a grueling craft defending, the agility necessary for constant reacting, the endurance required when constantly under attack, the physical demands of providing pressure, the humility needed to sustain against greatness, often absent adoration. It wears on one's joints and ligaments, muscles and bones, ego and energy. New paragraph. A long tooth is the mark of prey in this kingdom. The young eat the old. New paragraph. That's what makes the breed of OG defenders so impressive. Come on, ridiculous bars. Okay, and then because I know that Bram loves when I do dramatic readings like that, I'll move on just to say, I looked it up, and over the last 10 years, since the 2014-15 season, every time our defensive rating is over 110, we do not win the title. Every time it is under 110, except for 2016, we win the title. Currently, we're at 107.2. Now, this is not the end of the season, right? There's still time for that to tick up, but that is pretty much identical to the 21-22 season, which is, what you hear Kerr talking a lot. This team feels a lot like 21-22. We're talking about two-way Wiggs being back. That's a huge reason we won the title in 2022. There's just so many eerie similarities that get me really excited, most of which is I bring up Draymond lifting weights to say there's a reason. There's actually, it's not just like, oh, he's putting in increased effort and that's why we can be excited. There's reason to believe that what he's doing is sustainable in spite of the fact that he has grown, because he's working on his body in a way that we until now didn't know he wasn't exactly doing before. He was relying on elite athletic strength, and now he's taking care of his body. It matches the eye test, right? This guy is springy. He's getting his hands everywhere. He's moving his feet. It's just really exciting to see him. And you know that our defensive rating is due in large part to Draymond's effort on that end. He's the quarterback of our defense. Very exciting to see him do it.
I've got to follow up on the stats. How many paragraphs did those stats appear in? Were there any paragraph breaks? Because I'd like to mention that. Yeah, I've actually looked up the definition of dramatic read, and what it says is that you have to tell everyone you're performing it to when the paragraphs break. So,
that's right.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. You nailed that absolutely.
Thank you.
Behind the scenes story about bars, dramatic reads, and MT2 and Maxime. I don't remember how many years this is, but I think it was Maxime's first season on the show. And one of the first larger guests we had on, and I'll admit to all of you, I was trying to impress him, was Marcus Thompson. And we go through and we're having this little section, and I was doing it thinking at some point Marcus Thompson would either reference that we were close or that we'd done this or that I was good at it, whatever it was. And we go through and there's no compliments. And then there's a pause at one point, and Marcus Thompson goes, "Oh, talking about Maxime, your boy has bars." Direct quote from him. That hell have bothered me. Continues to bother me, and I hadn't thought about it until Maxime just said, "Oh, MT2 with bars." So fuck you, Marcus Thompson II, and everyone associated with that. I forgot to tell you there was at least 3 paragraphs in my last take. I'll let you guys know as we go forward to our next award, the Chris Mills on Your Team Bus Award for Asshole of the Week. I'll go first because it's not a fair one. I'm giving it to Drew Yoder, your athletic trainer for the Golden State Warriors. Again, unfair, but I'm going to take us back to November 12th, the Clay game, the Dallas game. Towards the end, our guy De'Anthony Melton seemingly hurts his knee. They talk to him, they make a decision, they let him finish the game. Since December 12th, we've heard first it was a sprained ACL, a term I've never heard. Now we've learned that it is at least partially torn, and Melton will be missing the remainder of the week. So I kind of wish he hadn't finished that game. Who knows whether or not it made it worse? Here's what I can tell you, even though I don't have an MD, it didn't make it better. We probably should have been a little bit more precautious. So I don't like it at all. To take the pressure off Yoder, the real asshole of the week here are these sports injury gods. But that said, I don't want to anger them. I'm just like, I don't like going down that path at all. So we'll kind of tiptoe past it, which actually, secondary question. Are you boys superstitious at all? Like, I literally didn't want to call the sports injury gods the assholes, because I'm the kind of person, like, I think it would kind of spring back. Like, I feel like something would happen to a Warriors player just because I made fun of that. Do you guys subscribe to those kind of things? Not that one specifically, but, do you ever find yourself not doing something because of some superstitious feeling?
All the time. Definitely believe in it. I mean, I feel like if you play sports too, and it comes with the territory, like, do you put your left shoe on first? Do you chew gum? Like, all the weird routines. And, there's even marketing campaign for Sports Center behind it. Like, it's only weird if it doesn't work, right? So I believe in it. I don't think this one rises to the occasion of it. Yeah. I don't think you've jinxed us. We don't need to knock on wood for this one. But I'm with you. I think Drew Yoder is the only correct answer right now for this entire award show, because, it's like, he's not, Melton wasn't the lone factor of why we would win a championship, but he's a huge piece of why we had a puncher's chance.
I am certainly missing him. And as far as the superstitious stuff go, I'll give you a stupid example. Whenever a major player gets hurt who is owned by a friend in fantasy basketball, I will either call or text them, I'm so sorry that's happened. Between us boys, it's not because I feel really bad for their fantasy team. It's because I feel like if I don't do it, one of my players will get hurt. And so, like, it's just, I don't know why. I have no idea why I've decided that, but 100% I will take that precaution. Maxime, you went last time. Who's your asshole of the week?
Yeah, I mean, ACL tears, I mean, this is, come on, like, De'Anthony Melton was playing so well in his two starts, right? I mean, again, two-way, right? We had so many great two-way players. Melton was one of them. We hear about Melton sitting with Steph and Draymond and Buddy Hield, sort of forming a bond amongst them that Draymond was very excited to share with the world. So it was clear that he was somebody that the team liked on and off the court. It's a huge blow for us. And then when we start talking about the numbers associated with it, we get half of his salary back as a designated player exemption, right? So that's $6.4 million. But that's not helpful, because per Bobby Marks, we're $532,000 under the first apron. Yep. So we can't actually use that. So, and then you could talk about trading him, and he's an expiring contract. So people would be theoretically rebuilding teams that are at the bottom of the league might be interested in taking on that expiring contract to shed some salary, whatever. But like, that's pretty cold-hearted, especially because the Warriors are in great position to pull him in for maybe a minimum next summer, considering they like him, all of that. So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. We're in kind of a shitty situation here overall, and it just sucks because nobody wants to be talking about these numbers. Everybody wants De'Anthony Melton, who Kerr said he was expecting to be in the starting lineup going forward. We want him on the team. We want him to be here. It's just such a shitty situation. He was a young player that I was really excited to fall in love with. And the early returns were really excellent for us, fitting sort of the perfect role that we needed. So just bummer overall. I guess we need ACLs, but I would just wish we didn't have them.
I'll put myself in the Chris Mills award category too, because I've spent a lot of time every day putting Melton's contract in the trade machine. Like a lot of time. I've more than a few suggested trades that we might not explore today, but that's definitely happened. Asshole of the week, Matty, who's your award?
I'm going to pivot. My first was going to be Clint Capella for pimp slapping Brandon Bogensky and sending him to the ground crying. But maybe that's going to be what wakes him up for the season. He'll listen to Draymond's advice. He'll come back better than ever and focus on the stuff he's best at. But I'm going to pivot away from that, and I'm going to pivot on to myself. Going back to the superstition question, I am slightly superstitious, but more so I do it to my children. So we're watching a sporting event together. We just went through the baseball playoff journey, and they'll do something to break superstition, and then a bad thing will happen, and I'll blame them. And I'll be like, you see that hit? See that? You were the one who ruined that no-hitter. And they are like, so it is deeply ingrained in our sports watching process. They know it so well at this point.
I love that. I love that this was a movie. It'd be like we'd flip scenes and underneath it'd be like 25 years later, and it's one of your kids like screaming at their spouse, like, "No, it's my fault. Like, you don't know. This is 100% my fault because we didn't watch the game in the right way." Marcus, who do you got?
I already went. I agreed with you, Drew Yoder.
That's right. You know what? I'll excuse myself because Matty, are you a fucking Dodger fan now? Is that what I just learned kind of tangentially? Like when you said I'm going through this, I know you're in LA. You said you go through like a playoff journey. Was that journey with the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Yes, that journey. It was with the Dodgers.
It's breaking my heart. So here, before he answers, okay, exactly right. And he was a huge Oakland A's fan. I mean, like, go to Oakland A's fan. Such an Oakland A's fan. If I'm remembering right, at one point, some player, there was a controversy about whether or not he would get into the All-Star game. And Matty and his cousin came up with a like program that did nothing but vote for that player over and over and over and over and over again that like somehow got him in. All right. So that's my understanding of Matty Stats. To tangentially hear that he's a goddamn Dodger guy now made me ask for the shuttle or the Chris Mills Award winner twice from Marcus. So I'm just distracted, man.
From Oakland. I came up. Thank you for that podcast. Saying goodbye to the A's. I was up for that final game of the season, went and felt the pain of that experience. But I moved to LA in 99 and I've been down here and I love baseball and I wanted my kids to love baseball. And, you know, forward, I have an 11-year-old. I was like, the best call I ever made was not forcing them down the A's rabbit hole. Because right now, how would their hearts be breaking as that team is ripped away from its city and being driven into the ground? So I made a very strategic decision when they were born to allow them the Dodgers. But they are Warriors and Niners fans. So it was strategic and it was a good call because the pain I'm feeling, I never want them to feel. And that ain't going to happen with the Dodgers because they said, are they going to move the Dodgers, Dad? And I'm like, no, largest media market, great ownership, largest ticket sales. Like, you're safe with this fandom.
I'm surprised you weren't like, it depends on how you watch the game. Or have you buttoned your third button down? Because if they haven't, they may be leaving at any moment. We'll find out together.
My kid wore the same shirt for every game day to school every single time. An arm sleeve that he's deemed lucky. Like, it was all in special necklaces. So I like breeding fandom, and that was the safest place. And F the Angels. So, you know, you kids deserve to have that community rooted.
I begrudgingly agree because it's always kind of annoying when kids are rooting for a team out of market because their parents do, you know, and it's just like, well, come on, man. Like, you're not from like Pittsburgh or whatever, you know, like I just embrace the local team. So I will try to be less annoyed to the Golden Dagger. A shot of the week. I'll give you a quick one here. Steph Curry's and one against Atlanta. I want to say he's running out of ways to be magical. I don't think that's true. I mean, every time I think he's run out of ways, he comes up with another one. So I won't put it that way. He's just doing another thing that is incredibly impressive, and he's doing it casually. So I was impressed with that. Anyone got a different one?
I got mine using Google and my imagination.
Excellent.
And it was the shot Lindy Waters never took in the Clippers game. Desperately wanted that to just swing over one more because I am sure in my imagination that goes in and I get to watch overtime. So that was my shot of the week.
How was the experience watching it there, man? You know, because frustrating game, but they do come screaming back and it ends up, you know, we have the possibility of a game time jumper as time expires. Enjoyable? Was it an aggressive crowd? I mean, yeah, give us a quick view.
It was a good crowd. I'd say it was about 40% Warriors fans. At the end of the game, when they were getting to the line, you were hearing loud boos. So I was surrounded by Warriors fans and one guy wearing a Kawhi Leonard jersey in front of me, just feeling bad for him.
Was
the dad didn't stand up that often. It was an older gentleman, so maybe it was a knee injury. It might have been Kawhi just hiding. Just doing his thing. But
nobody knows because he didn't tell anybody about his knee condition either. He's like, don't worry about it. Like, I might be able to stand next week, but I'm not telling you.
But it was a fun experience. I was glad I got to be there. Always want to get that experience in the arena, seeing the team live, especially on journeys, which could be good ones with the start. So no, it was a good experience. Would have liked them to win, but as bad as they played, the 10 missed free throws, they were still within a shot of the game. And it just shows the depth and what it is. Like they can play bad and still be in a game like that. And so I tried to be as optimistic now as I could. Early season, the record still looks good.
Is it weird that I wanted to send an email to Steve Ballmer telling him, look, our team can't shoot free throws anywhere. This has nothing to do with the wall. We don't care with your stupid wall. Also, my first real experience, although, over television with the wall was that Clippers game. Fans stand up and cheer during free throws everywhere. Fans bring signs during free throws everywhere. What is it that sets the wall apart? Like, I don't, it's just that they have a name for it and that people talk about it being like crazy. Matty, you were there. Is the wall like bananas? Like, is there something crazy about it?
It was better energy, and they had some particular, they had the red maple leaf they were holding up. So I'm sure that was for Wiggins. They had like Angry from Inside Out they were holding up, which I'm sure was for Draymond. But the thing that made it special, and credit to them for even doing this in this current sports environment, if you apply to be a wall person, your tickets can be as low as $39. So they're giving cheaper, lower bowl access to the rabid fan base that Golden State might have priced out when they jumped the bridge. And so in a place like LA where tickets are pricey, as expensive as any city in the country, the fact that he was still letting people in for $40 just so they'd bring it, it's going to attract a certain type of fan. You have to have an application online. So that was the aspect that I think makes it a little bit more special, because otherwise you can't get down that low in a new arena for anything less than $400.
Credit where it's due that you put the Inside Out Angry character and understood that it was aimed at Draymond, because when I saw it, I didn't understand it at all. And I wasn't alone. When Kalena, it's Azubuike and Fitz out here as our announcing crew. And when he saw it, he said, I guess the wall likes to confuse people by just putting up random images. Like you'd see it and be like, oh, like what's that for? And it turns out he 100% didn't get it either. And he wasn't alone. Any other Golden Dagger award winners?
I liked, it wasn't a traditional Golden Dagger, but I thought Steph's third three-pointer, the one where he was fading off to the baseline and just hit a ridiculous shot, was important for his confidence and to remind people that we are always in the game, no matter how bad we're playing. I think it carried over to the rest of the team and reminded them that, like they're always in the game if they have a healthy Steph Curry on there. So while it didn't lead to a victory, I think that type of reminder for the team morale is always good for them to have confidence that they're still in the game, even when they're not playing well.
Is that rainbow shot over Zubac?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There are times when I'm live in the arena where Steph, most of the time it's Steph, sometimes other players do it too, where somebody will do something and then you start watching the replays up on the big board, because what you think you saw, you can't trust. They're like, that's not what happened. And that Zubac shot was very much like that. I obviously wasn't there, but it's the kind of thing where you don't really understand how impressive it was that he did it until you kind of watch it slow way down and what the arc is and all of that. Maxime, you got another entry?
Yeah, just a couple of shout outs from around the league, right? Dalton Connect tying the record for rookies with 9 threes in a game. It's pretty sweet. There's a Franz Wagner 3-point to ice the Lakers out, which was a pretty sweet. You always love to see some final buzzer beater moments. But I know this sort of technically doesn't totally count because I'm giving the Golden Dagger to the assist, but we gotta give a moment to Podziemski on that insane save with the behind the back pass to the streaking Jonathan Kuminga for the dunk. Like what a ridiculous, that's exactly one of those that I was even at home. I'm like, I need to see this replay like at least 10 more times. An unbelievable play. Just love seeing that hustle overall. And like that was a pinpoint pass behind the back. Like, it could have gone real bad, but it ended up being real beautiful.
What you're highlighting is what Draymond was saying. What the takeaway I took from Draymond was there are people out there who do need to make shots. And if they're missing them, they should be stressing because they're on their way out of the league. But that's not Brandon Podziemski, that he makes all of these impacts on a consistent basis. And it's not because the ball's going through the net after he's shot it. It's because he's impacting all over the play. And that play illustrates exactly that. It was all hustle, heart that still led to a basket. Okay, where's Waldo quickly before we get to the Get Those Clicks award? And in fact, I'll put two together here. Where's Waldo, Matt, you'll remember, is just something we've spotted randomly throughout the week. And my Where's Waldo isn't limited to this week. I've been keeping a close eye on this topic specifically since the season started. Gentlemen, you know what I've spotted? High-profile guys on teams in trouble, because that is exactly what the Golden State Warriors are hoping for come the trade deadline, and they are piling up. There's a reason why I've been active with Melton's contract on the old ESPN trade machine. So here's some of the teams that have caught my attention. Number one, and probably the one that all of us are watching, Milwaukee. They are 6-9. They are 11th in the East, and they are a cornucopia of possible people whom we could go after. The obvious one is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I get it. But other people are there. I'm interested in Bobby Portis. I'm interested in Brook Lopez. And so there are, if that team continues to go down the shitter, it'll be interesting to see whom you can pry away. But they're not alone. Beneath them in the East is Philadelphia, a team I did not think we'd be talking about in any way. They are 2-12. 2-12. 15th last place in the East. I'm not sure if they're like full bore panicking yet, but my God, they've got to be pretty close to it. And a lot of names there that would also get my attention, including one we were interested in before the season began, Paul George. I know that he just signed a deal. I get that. I understand. I'll throw another name in here. Joel Embiid, another guy who just signed a deal. But I tell you what, if this keeps going, they maintain this kind of win percentage and last place in the East, it might not be impossible to pry some of those guys away. So there you go. The last one is a team nobody has identified, and I'm going out on a limb, but I'll say it nonetheless, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota is 8-7. All right. They're above 500, but they sure as hell were not trying to be in the 500 realm. They're also 10th in the West, so they're currently vying for a play-in. What it looks like is that the Dante DiVincenzo experiment isn't totally working out. He's now on the bench. His shooting numbers are way down. And the Jerome Randall thing is not – or Jerome Randall. That's our former Cal player. Randall is also not playing very well for them. They aren't close to considering trades, and I expect them to bounce back. But fast forward to February, and they're still somewhere here, those guys would also be interested. So I'll wait. I got suggested trades. I'm going to wait until we get down the line a little bit. But of the three, MT, what players interest you the most? All right? Embiid, George, Portis, Giannis, Brook Lopez, or Randall and Dante DiVincenzo? What team are we hoping completely shits the bed, and now we can go after and pick some of their pieces up?
I don't know if any of them do, honestly. I don't want Brook Lopez for sure. I don't need a 7-foot guy who averages 2 rebounds a game. If we have to pick, probably the last. Dante got a rejuvenated career with us, so we can always take more shooters. He's probably a De'Anthony Melton light replacement. Yeah. He's a good two-way player and can shoot the ball well. And then who knows what you get with Julius Randle and Jerome Randall for that fact, if he comes along with them.
Hella good. He can get into the paint very easily.
Yeah. New paragraph. I think I choose nobody, but if I have to pick one, I go with rating Minnesota.
That's a hell of a dramatic read by you. Nicely played. Too bad it's the wrong answer. The real answer is Milwaukee. And I'll give you just one suggestion out of nowhere. De'Anthony Melton and a first rounder for Bobby Portis, who only makes $12 million a year, and you could bring him in immediately. Does not make us a contender, but does make us a team that nobody wants to see. No one wants to see Draymond and Bobby on the same court for in a 7-game series. They do not want to see that. So we'll see how it plays out. One more before they get those clicks, a new award. It's the Carl Fredrickson from Up Award for Angry Old Man Who Doesn't Like Change. So this one goes to me, to no one's surprise. I liked the court. I'll tell you guys that I liked the new court that the Warriors debuted with the Golden Gate Bridge on it. But you know what I don't like? All the new fucking jerseys, dude. I'm out. There's too many. I want them to be in white when they play home. And I'm stealing this take. I feel like from Kuzma, I don't remember. But I understand why there's so many jerseys. They can sell them. You know, it's just money. It's money in the pocket. And so I get why you'd come up with all these variations. But what they're doing is costing themselves brand recognition. You know, like there are colors and things that we identify because there have been decades after decades after decades of brand recognition. To go out there and make a money grab, they're fucking with that. And so the Carl Fredericks in me, I don't like it. I'm shaking my fist at the kids on the lawn, dude. Just use the old jerseys. I'm out. Am I crazy on this? Is there anyone amongst us who's a big fan of those new jerseys?
No. I'm in complete agreement with you. And ultimately, I think it's a short-term play for a cash grab for Nike. That's a long-term failure for the NBA and everybody at large. Like, you can't. Like, I want to see iconic jerseys when I'm cruising around Oakland. I don't want to see a jersey that I could barely recognize. Like this latest one with the court, very cool. I agree, right? The fault line and the bridge, that was dope. I kind of liked it. And then you're pairing it with these colors. It's like, wait a minute, which team are we? Because they looked more red, more like the Atlanta Hawks than our own squad. If I see that out in the world, frankly, especially probably 3 years from now when they don't get rerun for another season, I have to squint. I'm sure I'm gonna be like, what, are you a fan? Like, what team are you rooting for? Is it the Hawks? That's just bullshit, man. Give me 2 jerseys every year. That's fandom. That's something that I can get behind.
I'm torn. Like I look forward to it every season. I'm like, what are going to be the city editions? What are going to be the statement, whatever they call them? But I'm torn because every year I'm always a little disappointed. I'm always like, I wanted them to be cooler. I think a fix could be if they hired a designer from each local home team, to design it, and that was like the design that the team went with, similar to how the Warriors did with that rose design. Like that was a local designer from the Bay Area. If they did that across the board, it'd be a cool little touch for the fandom, you know, to at least grow it. It's the NBA's version of $39 wall tickets.
I forgot to add my fix. My fix is just use the fucking logos you already have. We already have them. We don't need to be recreating things all the time, dude. Just use the ones that we have. And I'll add another angry man take for no reason. The Warriors debuting that court during the in-season tournament courts, you know, like when you see it all over the place, it's like wearing white to a wedding. It's like, you know, why do it now, dude? Like when I saw it, I'm like, is this an in-season tournament? Like, aren't they playing Atlanta? Like, I don't think that's in our division at all. And they just flexed it hard. Matty, where are you on the new jerseys?
I'm going to be contrarian. I think that it depends on if they're good jerseys, right? Like when a good colorway comes out, everybody in the city wears it, and it becomes a color you associate with that team. The Padres, I think, have done it best with their City Connects from years back that have now become like the craze with their pink. It's like Miami Vice colors, and like you see the catchers wearing full gear. So we just haven't gotten it right yet. You got to get one that just screams Bay, and then that one will stick. But I think kids nowadays with their video game skins and their colorway shoe collections, like we got to grow the sport, and you got to do what you can to hit that young audience so that they grow into the next generation of super fans to listen to your podcast.
I like you going way out on a limb and be like, you know what'll fix it? If they make really good ones. It's like, yeah, dude, I mean, probably, you know, I can see that combination of Googling and imagination at work right now. To our final award, the Get Those Clicks Award. Gentlemen, this is where Marcus has tracked down stories from around the league. We'll pick one of them and follow up. MT.
Cool. Got 3 options again. First one, Jalen Brunson defends his dad's promotion even amidst an NBA investigation. So we could talk about how that's happening and pick our favorite Warriors dad that we think should be part of Steve Kerr's staff. Second is TNT retained the rights to keep their show on. They're going to license the show with Charles Barkley and Kenny and Ernie and Shaq over to ESPN. So it felt like a last dance season for them. And now all of a sudden they're all sticking around. So we could talk about if that makes sense and how that makes us feel. And last, just there's been a lot of talk about declining NBA viewership, how it's tied to the proliferation of three-point shooting. And there's been some interesting articles and stuff written about how there's a literal shot desert now within the NBA of teams either shoot it in the key or in the three, and there's nothing in between, and how many games there's been of that and who the culprits are. So those are the three.
We'll take MT out of the voting because he knows the secrets to all the stories, which leaves us three. I'm interested in the TNT thing because I like the idea of everyone on ESPN texting like Barkley or Kenny the Jet and be like, oh, just so you know, I've always loved your work. I don't know if you need me on the studio show, but like I got some experience, like just trying to hedge their way onto that. And I've got interest in the declining ratings as evidenced by the fact that we did a segment on that last week, you bastard. Thanks for listening, MT, which leads the first one. That's the one I'd like to talk about the most, the Brunson thing, primarily because I don't know what the promotion or the investigation is. So you've piqued my interest. I'm voting story one.
I'm going to vote go along story one. I love to hear about Daddy Ball at the NBA level. It's like bringing, like your club sports to professionals. And I'm not even allowed to talk about the ESPN one. So it's probably the safest just to stay in the.
Boom. F your vote, Maxime. We have a winner. It's story number one. So MT, bring us up to speed. What's the promotion? What's the investigation?
A little more context. So the New York Knicks promoted Rick Brunson, who's Jalen Brunson's dad, to lead assistant coach. And, the league heard of that and said, wait a minute, does this promotion kind of circumvent the salary cap rules?
Yeah,
Is there, any issues with this extension going on? And was it tied to Jalen's contract extension? So, there's a lot of questionable things that go on there just in general when you have a dad and son, in those two positions as player and part of the coaching staff. But Jalen came out and defended his dad, rightfully so. But he was just like, no, it's his extensive coaching experience is why he got that, So is Brunson Sr. really an amazing coach that we've just all been sleeping on?
What's the salary? So, I mean, to add a little bit more context or a step further back, Jalen Brunson, king of New York, coming off an unbelievably successful season, the kind of season where you could sign any contract you wanted, gave him like $100 million break or something. I mean, some kind of ludicrous break and signed for much less money, which helps the team, right? And allows for the team to spend money on other people. The person theoretically it would hurt is Jalen. There's less money in his bank account, And so I would imagine that's why they're looking into this. And so if his father's like salary for an assistant head coach is $4 billion, then maybe there's some chicanery going on here. Did they announce it? Did they tell us what the money is? Is he getting paid in like gold bars or something?
I haven't seen it. I haven't found it yet. I'll look for it while we keep talking. But
if that's happening, boys, if that's what's going down, if the Knicks have found this loophole, thumbs up or thumbs down, just generally speaking, because I don't mind telling you, I like that kind of stuff behind the scenes. If that's what they've done, if they found this way to get around the salary cap, thumbs up for me. LeBron supposedly, I'm sorry, let me put that a different way. Not LeBron. AD is getting less money in his Laker contract than he probably could have demanded. And I heard rumors from nobody who has any kind of power that the money he got to be in Space Jam was bananas, And so it's the kind of thing where like, maybe there's a little extra money on the side. And I like that. I like that they're doing it. So thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I can't find a dollar amount tied to Rick Brunson's promotion, but they just keep saying, why would Jalen Brunson leave $113 million on the table? And he's like, yeah, I'll leave that on the table. And then coincidentally, his dad gets a promotion with a raise. He obviously isn't getting paid $113 million this season, but
some stocks, maybe it's like all
he's partial owner. He's partial owner. Matty, if you are an owner of a team and the GM comes to you and is like, well, I've got this plan. Not
Hell
super
yes.
legal. Yeah, not super
Yeah,
legal. Yeah.
If I'm an owner who's got the money to spend, I'm like, I'm gonna spend. I'm gonna just do this every single way. I mean, where did the Warriors do preseason? Hawaii? Like is like you do what the Niners used to do that. Used to fly out the whole team to the Pro Bowl before it became illegal. And like it'd be like family vacations for the whole group. The DeBartolos would fly them out and stuff. So yeah, anything you can do to make your environment better and pay it that doesn't hit your salary cap, that's the business.
Oh, I mean, like you're openly cheating and you won't get caught. I mean, so to give you some cover here, if that's me, we would have an illegal funds like bank account. There'd just be all this money off to the side, and I'd go to the GM, be like, look, it's your job to figure out how to fucking use this. Like, I don't know how you're going to. Let's, totally up to you. You guys remember Pokarov, the owner for the Brooklyn Nets, and was like a Russian oligarch, and like no one really knew where he got his money. I remember when Andrei Kirilenko went to go play for him, Kirilenko of Russian descent. And he took like a deal for almost nothing. It's like, I don't remember, $500,000. And the rumor was always that the $500,000 check came in like an $18 million envelope. It was like the envelope was made of diamonds and then they gave him the check. So I think this fits firmly under the, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Like the finding loopholes that you could take advantage of. And I think you should do it. Maxime, if you're an owner, what do you say to the illegal move?
We got Thanasis and Antetokounmpo on the Bucks. We got Bronny James getting a guaranteed contract as the 56th pick. I mean, come on now, right? This is just if you're not cheating, you're not trying, I think, at a certain point. So this is rampant. This is just another way to solve the same problem that's frankly a little bit less obvious than signing your friggin' family member to one of, you can have as many assistant coaches as you want, as far as I know, in the NBA. You only have 15 roster spots available. So that's a wild decision all around.
Do you think that Jalen was doing his contract? That fool said, look, I'll take, I don't know, a much lower number. Also, totally unrelated, completely unrelated. My father would like $113 million to be an assistant coach. Whatever. You can get back to me on that and other side. And I also have always kind of secretly hoped that Lacob, the hookup that Lacob could do is the stock stuff. He funds like small companies and then makes them very large, successful entities. So if he was negotiating with people, was like, look, I'll give you this amount. It keeps us under the salary cap and maybe a couple stock tips. I don't know, maybe like, I use that stuff. Why the hell not?
That was part of Iguodala's pitch, right? Come closer to Silicon Valley. Yes. We can help your money grow into more money.
Yes.
But on the flip side of that, how does his dad feel? Like, we're all parents. Like, if your kid was like, Dad, I can get you a gig at my company. Like, how would you feel about that? Like, did you get there on your own merits? Your kid's putting you on their back? Like, how does that feel?
Depends on the number. All right. And so I'm going to answer that. I'm going to answer that with a story. I've got two friends. It's a couple. The wife in that couple is a very big deal at Netflix and is getting paid an insane amount of money to do what she is doing. And I had lunch with the husband, who I had not seen for a very long time. And to his credit, he was a pretty successful exec at a record company for a while. And so we were sitting there talking unsolicited. And he goes, look, when she started making 2 times the money I did, I kept working because my job meant a lot. And when she started making 4 times the money I did, I kept working, man, because we could use the money. When she started making 12 times the money I did, I was like, nah, fuck it, I'm out. I'm not, I started taking private boxing lessons and, called it a day. So to answer your question, Matty, like if Kylie offers me a job and it's not difference making money, like I'd be in my feelings. I am neurotic, and I'd be all weird about it. I'd probably take it, but like I'd be all weird about it. If she's offering me a job and it's the $113 million that we're intimating here, I don't give a shit what that job is. If it's the mascot for her 4th grade class, let's go, dude. I'll be there. Bells on. Like, no problem at all. So I would definitely be able to do that. Same answer.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like having to wear a mascot costume, it gets pretty sweaty, right? You don't get to like actually interact with anybody. I don't know. It could be a harder gig that I think you're letting on.
I've done it. It is hot. It is hot. It is sweaty.
There you go.
Your eyes are in your mouth. You got to like deal with some stuff. So no, I mean, But I'd still do it for the 113 million for sure. Like, no doubt.
Dude,
No
you'd have me
doubt.
at a much smaller number. You could change the decimal point and you still have, and if the job was only, you're just going to sweat, like, fine. I'm doing that right
You do
now.
that
I might as well
anyways.
get paid. Matty, it is so good to see you alive, man. I mean, the news of your death was very exaggerated, clearly not true. We absolutely missed you. It is phenomenal to have you back. And for people who need more of your takes, more of Matty Stats in their life, anywhere they should turn?
Nah, just keep tuning in to Giant Corporation so that the ads get bought, and maybe I'll keep a job.
For us, I'll also go with just the flat. Nah, that's fine. You can find. No, I will not. If you want to get us an email, let us know who did a good job, bad job, any job. You can send it to
Huddle@warriorshuddle.com.
If you would need a dramatic reading of bars from MT2, you can reach out to that same email address. Maxime does it for a fee that you and he can discuss. We're also on social media everywhere. But the thing that really needs to be underlined, all jokes aside, this YouTube channel and what Maxime has done with the visual accompaniment, I could not be more proud of. I could not be more impressed by. And if you have not seen it, check it out. It supports us, and I think that you will be very impressed. With that in mind, go Warriors! Hopefully, we'll see you twice next week.